Hello, everyone, and welcome to Trackside Talk, your weekly source for all things motorsport from RSN. I'm Kelly Johnson, and I'm so excited to share this with you guys, considering that racing is coming back up, and honestly, it's the best time of the year. Now, Formula One is coming back. They just wrapped up their preseason testing in Bahrain. So if you're getting into Formula One, you might not know all the little details about it. So let's dive in. What exactly is Formula One? Formula One is the single-seater series that is engineering-based. So that means that all the cars are different depending on the team, and they have special engineers designed to make the car more aerodynamic and to make it fast and safe. There are 11 teams on the grid this year with the introduction of Cadillac, which we will get to in a little bit. So that means there are 22 drivers on the grid. Now, Formula One is seen as the luxurious racing series. It's considered the pinnacle of motorsport, and the crown jewel race is the Monaco Grand Prix. Now, Monaco is one of the richest countries in the world, and now Formula One is also doing a bunch of collaborations with different designer brands such as Louis Vuitton, and you can see why it's seen as the sort of ritzy racing. There are new regulations this year. Compared to last year, the cars are going to be smaller, and they got rid of the DRS system, which, if you're a woman who's just getting into motorsport, you've probably been asked, oh really, what is DRS? Now you don't have to worry about that. Now there is straight mode and active aero mode, which allows cars to be faster on straights on the track. And it also helps them overtake. Most of these cars will have a smaller wheelbase and smaller front wings. And according to Max Verstappen, this is Formula E on steroids. Formula E is the all-electric racing series, and those cars are completely different from Formula One, but not according to Max Verstappen this year. Speaking of drivers, I say let's get into it. Let's get to know the current F1 grid. With Cadillac this year, we have returning drivers Valtteri Bottas and Sergio Checo Perez. Now, I'm very excited to see these guys back on the track. They've both been phenomenal drivers. Valtteri Bottas spent years with Mercedes, helping Lewis Hamilton win his world championships there, and he has won many races as well. Same thing with Sergio Perez. He was with Racing Point, and then he was with Red Bull as well. Racing Point is now Aston Martin. But yeah, Sergio Perez, he kind of got done a little dirty by Red Bull, if I say so myself. He had struggled towards the end of the 2024 season, and he was dropped for Liam Lawson, who was then dropped for Yuki Tsunoda, who has now been dropped for Isaac Hadjar. And see him back on the grid, I'm very excited. Cadillac made a really good decision with two strong veteran drivers to help bring in the new generation of drivers with Colton Herta in Formula 2. Now, moving on, we're going to go with the reigning Constructors Champions and the reigning World Champion with McLaren. We have Lando Norris, who won the World Championship this year, and Oscar Piastri, who came third. Now, McLaren's kind of the drama starter of the grid, especially with the papaya rules situation. Now, papaya rules, according to Zach Brown, the CEO of the team, is supposed to ensure fair driving for both drivers. However, a lot of people say that it's benefited Oscar, it's benefited Lando. It's a whole thing. There's a lot of drama with it. But Lando won the World Championship. He had a better second half of the season. And he won it by coming third in Abu Dhabi last year. Now, moving on. Mercedes, I believe they came second in the Constructors' Championship, and we have two really talented drivers here. George Russell, currently the favorite to win the 2026 championship. Not to be a little biased, I'm a George Russell fan, so I've been spreading that George Russell won propaganda. However, I do think with the consistency he had last year, he has a very strong chance. He had one finish out of all of the 2025 races that was out of the top 10. And that was in Monaco because he had to serve a drive-through penalty for an incident with Alex Albon. other than that, he's been consistently in the points and consistently on the podium. And with that consistency and building that over time, I believe he has a very strong chance at the title. Next, we have sophomore driver Andrea Kimi Antonelli. He goes by Kimi. He is the future of Mercedes. He is very young. I believe he's 19. And he's already gotten a podium. He's already been consistently in the points as well. He had some mistakes last year. Had a few DNFs. It happens. It was his rookie year. Understandable. But with the times that he put up in Bahrain and in Barcelona, he's showing very strong development with Mercedes. And he could be a title contender as well this year, in his sophomore year. That would be insane to watch. Moving on, we have Red Bull Racing. Now, Red Bull has been very dominant in multiple time spans. Max Verstappen, 4-time world champion. He did not win this year. He came very close, though. He cut a 100-point gap down to 2 points. So it's safe to say Max Verstappen is a really phenomenal driver. He wouldn't have won 4 championships if he wasn't. Funny enough, in 2024, he won his 4th world title at the Las Vegas Grand Prix here in Vegas. Funny enough, George Russell actually won the race too. I digress. But Max Verstappen will be leading with the number 3 this year, formerly Daniel Ricciardo's number. A lot of people miss Daniel Ricciardo. I miss Daniel Ricciardo, so I think this is a nice little tribute to Daniel Ricciardo. Him and Max had a very strong chemistry when Daniel Ricciardo was back at Red Bull. Now, moving up from Visa Cash App Racing Bulls is Isaac Hadjar. Isaac Hadjar put on a really strong performance last year, and I believe he also won Rookie of the Year from different journalism outlets. Isaac Hadjar got a podium last year in Hungary. He got his first podium in a Visa Cash App Racing Bulls car, which you don't really see that. They're supposed to be the development team for Red Bull, so very strong driver. If the car is built on the same level as Max's, I believe he could put up a very strong performance this year. Up next, Visa Cash App Racing Bulls. We have Liam Lawson, who after 2 races last year with Red Bull was sent back down to Visa Cash App Racing Bulls. He replaced Daniel Ricciardo in 2024, and he's kind of one of those drivers who is a make or break for some people. People don't like him because he replaced Daniel Ricciardo. People don't like him because he sort of made enemies with their favorite drivers. Somehow, all the Hispanic drivers. Coincidence? I don't know. But him and Perez very much had some beef. Same thing with Fernando and Carlos Sainz. But I digress. He's shown to be very strong in the V-Carb car, and I think he could put up pretty high numbers this season. And his teammate this year is Arvid Lindblad, who is a rookie. He did very well in Formula 2, and Red Bull may have done the right call by bringing him up. Not really a whole lot to say. When he was younger, he went up to Lando Norris and said, "I can't wait to be racing alongside you in a few years." Something along the lines of that. And look at him now, racing alongside Lando Norris. So, can't wait to see where Arvid places. I think he's going to do pretty solid as well. I think the V-Carb cars have been pretty consistent. And with that, drivers do well. Drivers do well with consistency. Now, one team that's not consistent is Ferrari. We have Charles Leclerc, who is basically Ferrari's prince, Ferrari's golden boy, and low-key kind of draining the life out of him. Last year was a terrible season for Ferrari, and you could just tell that both drivers have been incredibly frustrated with the car. Could even see it in the first race of last year. His water system was leaking, and he tried to say that to his engineer and say, hey, something is leaking in my car. And it turned into a viral meme because they just said, yeah, must be the water. Hopefully Charles Leclerc gets a good car this year. He has been so devoted to Ferrari, and if he is in a good car, he could be world championship material. Now, looking back at Bahrain, Ferrari figured something out that the other teams didn't. All the other teams have been struggling to get off the start. Ferrari has not been struggling to get off the start, which they figured something out. Oh my gosh. So hopefully it does numbers for their season, and hopefully they can actually put themselves back in constructors' contention and maybe even drivers' contention. And we have his teammate, 7-time world champion, Lewis Hamilton. Ferrari, I don't understand how they made a 7-time world champion say he feels useless. And honestly, that hurts my heart a little bit. He was dominant with Mercedes. He's also a big activist. He's a big activist and then also like ambassador, entrepreneur. So his side quests are also as important as his racing as well. Moving on, Audi. Audi is a newer team that took over Kick Stake Sauber Formula One team. A lot of names, I know. But Audi is taking over for the first time, and considering their German team, they have a German driver in Nico Hülkenberg. He's been on the grid for years, and he got his first podium last year in Silverstone, which made all the fans happy. It made everyone happy that, after years and years of driving, not necessarily being in the greatest car, that you're finally on that podium step. He is alongside Gabriel Bortoleto, who is from Brazil. He is a sophomore driver as well. He did pretty well with Sauber last year. He was in and out of the points, but he was pretty much mostly in the points. So I think if Audi has a strong car, 2 strong drivers, they could be up there. Next up, Williams Racing. We have Alex Albon, who has been with Williams for years. He was cut from Red Bull. Something about Red Bull and those second drivers, it's wild. And he has shown great strength in Williams. He's been so devoted to Williams. Williams has been equally as devoted. And we could see him back on the podium if Williams gets this car right. Same thing with Carlos Sainz. Carlos Sainz was away from Ferrari after they signed Lewis Hamilton. He got his first podium in a Williams last year. There's a little story behind a sticker that was on his helmet last year where a young fan had a unicorn sticker drawn out. He put it on the back of his helmet, and he was consistently in the points, got his podium. Funny enough, he met that fan today. Very sweet, very wholesome. But Williams could be another strong contender as well if they get the car right. Up next, Alpine. Alpine is one of those teams that they've consistently struggled. Last year they had rookie Jack Doohan, and he was waived for Franco Colapinto, who was re-signed. Colapinto is from Argentina, and he gets a lot of Argentinian sponsors. Very famous throughout Argentina. But he was with Williams for a little bit after they waived Logan Sargent, and he was pretty much consistently in the points. Had a few wrecks. It happens. But yeah, he's back for season 2 with Alpine. And they have Pierre Gasly, their resident driver. He's been with Alpine for a while as well. However, once again, Alpine, they're a struggling team. If he was in a better car that's more consistent and that he can consistently get in the points, he could be driver championship material as well. Moving we're running through these. Aston Martin, Lance Stroll, son of owner Lawrence Stroll. A lot of people not fans of him. He has his moments, but he is one of those consistent drivers. If he's very good in the rain. A lot of people joke that he turns into prime Ayrton Senna in the rain, but he's pretty consistent. He's consistently in like right on the cusp of points. Aston Martin, their car did struggle a little bit last year, and Fernando Alonso would know about that as well. Fernando Alonso, two-time world champion from 2002, and then, no. He won one in 2008 that was very controversial. I'm going to just leave it at that. But now he's with Aston Martin. He wants to get his third championship, understandable. And Lance Stroll, he's there to help his teammate. He's there to drive. Moving on, Haas. I believe this is our final team. This is the 11th team. Esteban Ocon was with Alpine, and he was teammates alongside Pierre Gasly, but now he is with the American team Haas, and he has been doing much better. He's been, once again, consistently in the points. Some few races where he's been out. A lot of people joke about the 5-second penalty to Ocon, which that started at Alpine, but he's been pretty good at driving with Haas. He hasn't really been getting any penalties. He is leading, once again, another sophomore driver, Ollie Behrman, who he was a reserve driver for Ferrari when he was in Formula 2. He got called up when Carlos Sainz was out with appendicitis. Scored points in his first ever race. So it's safe to say Haas has a very strong lineup. Once again, if they can nail the car, they could be doing really well this season. And that's something I would like to see. All right. Moving on to NASCAR. NASCAR is already underway. They're 2 races under their belts, and it's been pretty exciting to watch, honestly. What is NASCAR, though? NASCAR is a stock car racing series that has very much average cars you'd see on the road. They have Toyota Camrys, Ford Mustangs, basically these 4-seater cars, and they have 2 to 3 drivers per team, which it can get a little confusing. Some teams, I believe at least one team has 4 drivers in their lineup. I think 2 teams do. But there are multiple teams with 4 drivers in their lineup. There's a lot of drivers. I'm going to just leave it at that. They have 2 feeder series. They have the Craftsman Truck Series and the O'Reilly Auto Parts Series. Comparing it to Formula 1, O'Reilly would be the Formula 2, and Truck Series would be Formula 3. And the only difference is that the top drivers in the Cup Series, they can hop in and just race an O'Reilly Auto Parts Series. They can just race a Truck Series. We saw it with Kyle Busch recently in Atlanta. He won a Trucks race alongside Carson Hocevar, who's also racing in the Trucks race. Saw Ross Chastain race in the O'Reilly Auto Parts Series in Atlanta. Crazy times. Now for their championship format, they have a Chase the Championship format, or the Chase as they call it. So the last 10 race top drivers with most points, they're the ones trying to score as many points in the last 10 races to win the championship. Now this is different from the old playoff format that they had, and not many people like the playoff format because it was sort of a bracket that you had this driver, you had this driver, you had this driver, you had this driver. Bottom 4 drivers after 2 to 3 races eliminated. And the way you got in was a win and you're in system. So there are a few drivers who maybe won a single race the whole season and they got out the first round. And not many people like that. So they changed the format system. Hopefully it's more exciting than the playoff system this year. I'm excited to see how that goes. The NASCAR Crown Jewel race is the Daytona 500. That just happened. That is usually the first race of the season. The Daytona track is very iconic in not only NASCAR but other racing series as well. If you look at the World Endurance Championship and the IMSA series, that's where they have the 24 hours of Daytona on the little road course inside the track. Very famous racetrack, very famous race. And once again, NASCAR is very heavy in like one-off racing. Like a lot of people will just like hop in for a race, maybe not the next race, maybe the next race, who knows. Usually there are nearly 40 drivers on the grid per race. I believe in Atlanta there were 38 drivers. It's insane. It's a lot of cars going fast. And most of the manufacturers are American. There is Toyota, but usually there is Chevy, there's Ford. I believe Ram will be coming back for Craftsman Truck Series, and I believe Dodge is trying to make a comeback as well. So who knows? That's all in the future. Now, let's recap top 3 in Daytona. 9 DNFs, multiple wrecks. The big one, which is the big wreck that happens every year at Daytona, involved 20-plus cars. Very crazy to watch. But top 3, Tyler Reddick, Ricky Stenhouse Jr., and Joey Logano. Tyler Reddick, he races for 2319 Racing, which is with Michael Jordan owns it. So it's safe to say he made Michael Jordan pretty happy. Ricky Stenhouse Jr., you don't usually see him in the top 3. He's there. But he had a great race as well. Same thing with Joey Logano. Joey Logano's consistently in like the top 10. A lot of people are very iffy about Joey Logano, but that's for another time. And this weekend, Auto Trader 400 in Atlanta. Tyler Reddick won back-to-back. That's crazy to say. Now, there's a chance he could win this weekend at Circuit of the Americas. We've seen it happen with Christopher Bell last year. Won the first 3 of 4 races. Chase Briscoe got second. He was very consistent in last season, maybe towards the latter half, but he was consistently winning races as well. He got in the top 8, I believe, for the playoff format. And, yeah, he had a very good shot of winning the championship. But Kyle Larson won the championship instead. And not many people are happy about that as well. They believe Denny Hamlin, who we'll talk about next week, was robbed. It's a whole thing. It's a whole thing. And then third place, Ross Chastain. Ross Chastain, known as the Melon Man. Every time he wins a race, he takes a watermelon, smashes it on the track, and then eats it. Because he grew up on a watermelon farm, worked for his parents, whole thing. Very small-town farmer boy making his big dream come true. There are 13 DNFs. 13 people did not finish the race in Atlanta. So it was a crazy race. NASCAR is very much a luck. A lot of it's part of it is luck, considering you have to be sure that you're avoiding the wrecks. Last year at the South Point 400, there was a very controversial wreck that got it was either a spotter or a crew chief fired, where William Byron, who was in the playoff contention, he crashed into Ty Dillon, who allegedly brake checked him going into a turn. Very, very controversial. And the next week they're in Florida, and one of his team members was fired. NASCAR, there's a lot of drama. So next week we'll be talking a lot about the drama. Speaking of next week, IndyCar returns as well. They will be in St. Pete on Sunday. It's their inaugural race of the season. It'll be very exciting to watch. Once again, NASCAR is at COTA, Circuit of the Americas. Next week we're going to talk a little bit about some of the paddock drama that's going on in Formula One. There's a reason Lando Norris and Max Verstappen are right there. There's a very big reason. I'm excited. I'm excited to talk more racing with you guys. I hope you all have a great rest of your day, and tune in next week for all the drama across all the racing series.